Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this Raid Shadow Legends video I'm going to talk about Demon Lord. And I'm not going to talk about the compositions that you use to beat Demon Lord, but on a more strategic level, what Demon Lord should you be fighting against and how should you spend your Demon Lord keys. First, thank you Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video and for giving me this wonderful promo link that you can use to get a little bit better start also on Demon Lord, because if you use the link down below in the description or in the QR code, you get a new account with Deacon Armstrong after the tutorial, then Uugo at 15, Tagoar at 20 and Mausoleum Mage at 30, giving you the best possible start to raid. But Demon Lord, there are 6 difficulty levels in Demon Lord. There's easy, normal, hard, brutal, nightmare and ultra nightmare. And there is a connection between the rewards in these difficulties, because the last chest of each one is the second chest of the next one, except for brutal to nightmare, where the last brutal chest is the third nightmare chest, and nightmare to ultra nightmare, because the ultra nightmare has completely different chest than nightmare. And typically getting the last chest of a difficulty is easier than getting the second chest of the next difficulty, so the best rewards come from the difficulties that you can handle. The chests themselves give 3 interesting types of loot. There's artifacts, there's skill tomes, and there are shards. The chests also drop potions and brews, but those are kind of just a bonus. Of the 3 more important loot types, artifacts are the least interesting ones, but there are some good artifacts available from the chests. The Guardian chest, which is the last chest in hard difficulty, is the first one that drops 5-star rare loot. So very early already in your account progression you want to start getting at least 5-star loot, so that means hard Demon Lord. So normal and easy do not drop 5 stars. The Master chest, which is the third chest in Brutal and the second chest in Nightmare, that's the first one that drops 5-star epics. So also fairly early on, after some weeks already, you start to be more interested in 5-star epics than in 5-star rares, and in order to do that you have to be able to handle Brutal. And the Grandmaster chest, which is the last chest in Brutal, that's the first one that doesn't drop any 4-star gear anymore. It only drops 5-star gear, and it can also drop 5-star legendary gear. And it takes until Ultra Nightmare to get any 6-star gear. Only Ultra Nightmare drops 6 stars, and all chests in Ultra Nightmare drop 6 stars. The artifacts are not the most interesting part. A little bit more interesting are skill tomes. So the Warrior chest, the last chest in Easy, is the first one that can drop skill tomes at all. That drops rare skill tomes, but only 2.5% of the time. As you can see, Easy Demon Lord doesn't really give you all that much. The Night chest, the last chest in Normal, is the first one that drops epic skill tomes, but less than 1% of the time. So again, Normal Demon Lord doesn't give you all that much. The only somewhat reliable sources of skill tomes, and the only ones that drop legendary skill tomes, are the last chest in Nightmare and the last chest in Ultra Nightmare. So also in Ultra Nightmare, only the last chest can drop legendary tomes. So you're much better off just getting the last chest in Nightmare than getting some earlier chest in Ultra Nightmare. The most interesting loot in Demon Lord are shards, because Demon Lord is going to eventually be your main source of sacred shards. However, it takes quite a while to get there. So all Demon Lord chests can drop ancient shards. Normal last chest is the first one that can also drop void shards, but less than 1% of the time. Brutal last chest drops 9.21% ancient shards and 1.84% void shards, so it's the first chest that can drop more than 10% of shards. Then we need to go to Nightmare last chest to do better than that. That's 21.34% ancients, 3% voids, and 6% sacred shards. Ultra Nightmare chests, they all drop ancient and void shards, but only the last chest again in Ultra Nightmare can drop sacred shards, 10.62% of the time. So as you can see, Nightmare last chest is so much better than the Ultra Nightmare chests apart from the very last one. And there are only 2 chests that can drop sacred shards, the last chest in Nightmare and the last chest in Ultra Nightmare. So by now you kind of see where we're going. Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare last chest, they are by far the most valuable, and ideally you want both of them every reset. The Brutal second to last chest starts dropping more shards with ancient shards, and the last chest in Brutal starts dropping only 5-star gear. So Brutal is like where the loot starts to really pick up, and the Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare are the real prizes. Normal and hard last chest, they have a small chance to drop some good items like void shards and epic tomes, but for normal that's 2% of the time. For hard that's 4% of the time. They don't do it very often. which means that you want to get the last chest from the highest difficulty you can and not go for low chests on high difficulty levels. There's only one case where a non-last chest is better than the last chest from the previous difficulty, and that's the brutal third chest, the master chest. That one is better than the last chest in hard. So you can start doing brutal when you can hit the third chest. You don't have to get all the way to the last one. And to get attempts at Demon Lord, you will need Demon Lord keys. You get 1 key every 6 hours. But that's up to a maximum of 2 keys. When you have 2 keys, your timer actually is going to stop. It's not going to replenish anymore. So you generally want to use your keys before 12 hours have passed so that you keep gaining new keys all the time so that you can get 4 keys per 24 hours. And your ideal long-term goal is to do Ultra Nightmare with 1 key so that you can get the last chest, Nightmare with 1 key to get the last chest, Brutal with 1 key to get the last chest. Optionally also hard with 1 key if you spend 4 keys, but then you wouldn't necessarily need all 4 keys. That's kind of optional because hard is already much lower rewards. And you get double rewards if your guild manages to actually kill the Demon Lord. So you can also use some keys to help with that. So for example, if you can do Nightmare, then it's much better to use your keys on Nightmare if that ensures a kill on Nightmare of the Demon Lord than to use keys on lower difficulties. It's also possible to play around with the keys a little bit, because you can do 3 keys on one day and 5 keys the next day. So that's still 8 keys over 48 hours. If you save your keys until the Demon Lord resets, and then you can do 2 keys immediately, and then after 12 hours you will have another 2 keys, and then after 6 hours you will have another 1 key, so you can get 5 keys into a single day, but then the next day can only be up to 3 keys. So that's also an option if you have the time and the ability to log in, and you can get some last chest with 5 keys. But typically you would be trying to get the last chest so you can do it with 3 keys. 4 keys is already a little bit more difficult, I mean time management wise, to get that 4 keys in. And ultimately, of course, you want to 1 key everything that you can, and then use the remaining keys on lower difficulties or to ensure that your guild gets the kill on the higher difficulty level Demon Lords. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.